The journey of the caravan is a reflection of 10 years of walking through valleys and mountains, villages and towns, from the Lorian Swamp to Lake Olbolosat, advocating for the conservation of the Ewaso Nyiro River and its ecosystem. Dubbed the Ewaso Nyiro Camel Caravan, it is a resilient journey through a fast-changing climate that has claimed the river and its biodiversity. But with concerted efforts, the river and its people have been on a journey to recovery.
Tunapojumuika pamoja hivi, tunaleta mila za Kiturkana, mila za Kisomali, Kikuyu, Borana, Rendile, kusema kwamba tunaomba tuwe na umoja na wakati wote tuwe pamoja ili tuweze kuendeleza eneo letu.
Mama mbeleni hakuna mtu anasikiza. Lakini kwa saa hii tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu juu sauti yetu amekuja juu.
Tunaweza kuleta jamii pamoja na tunafanya uhamasisho na kazi ya amani. Pia kupitia tu watoto tunaleta uhusiano kati ya jamii mbili ambazo zinazozana za wafugaji.
We are able to bring communities together who used not to talk to each other. And I remember when we started, each community wanted to walk alone, to celebrate alone. It was not possible. Just now they are united, they sleep together, they work together.
These tributaries may be full and green, but in the past years, they were baked and barren. The dry rivers driving pastoralists from the lower basin up in search of the last remaining water, causing conflict and encouraging illegal activities.
Now, when the Lawrence Swamp perishes, where will I get those animals to feed?
Wakitoka upande wa chini, wanapanda mto, wanapanda. Na wanafikiria, huko ndio maji imefanya nini? Imefugiwa. Hasa ikatubidi tuweke rationing. Mpaka ukaona, watu ya chini wale hawakuwa wakipata maji, wakapata maji.
We are now wanting to have a song for the river and then a prayer so that we cannot miss water.
2024 Caravan Camp was a transformation from days of walking to an intimate gathering geared towards celebrating the river itself as a source of livelihood for diverse communities and biodiversity. A time to reflect on the diverse efforts towards conservation.
Kwa hivyo tukiketi chini, tuchukue viti zetu, tuanze tutafakari hayo. Mimi kama mfugaji, mimi kama mkulima, niko na Ewaso Nyiro mbona.
For the previous 10 years, we've been working with camels and having dialogues on community. But for this year, we decided to camp in a place called Kipsing in Isiolo County. And we decided that because we wanted to do a reflection of the 11 years camel walk.
We just identified a gap when it comes to now advocating for policies that should protect Ewaso Nyiro River. And that is why we decided to change our whole approach this year. Do something differently and see whether this one will be more impactful in terms of getting to have these policies pushed. Like the sand harvesting policy has been at the Isiolo County Assembly since 2018.
Conversation on the restoration measures that have worked for equal sharing of resources in the basin, as well as approaches of ensuring that the ecosystem thrives and continues to support the livelihoods of the communities it serves.
Kabla ya kuhama kutoka sehemu moja kwenda kwa sehemu nyingine, ni muhimu kuwe na ile hali ya mazungumzo kutoka kwa wanaohama na mahali ambao wanatarajia kuhamia.
Tuweze kuishi na amani, tulee watoto wenye wako na amani, ndio sasa tutoke tujenge jamii yenye iko na amani.
Naweza kusema nichukue initiative ya kutembea, kuhamasisha jamii kutumia njia ya muziki kuhusu ambao mambo na amani na tuweze kukaa na amani, kwa sababu bila amani hata muziki yangu siwezi enda mahali kupiga.
Among the diverse people joining the camp were the Morans from Samburu, decorated warriors who live away from their homes, herding animals and protecting the community. With support from Impact, they have been preaching the message of peaceful coexistence with their neighbors to their mates and seeking alternative livelihoods in the face of a changing climate.
This is a generation that has never gone to school. And now in the last drought, all the livestock was swept away by drought. So you can wonder, they cannot be employed. They have no skills, even language is a problem. So they opted to go into cattle rustling in the all neighboring communities.
Kwa hivyo huwezi tu kuenda kwa groups kama wale na kuita wakati wote kwamba tunataka usalama, because end of the day wanataka kitu akula.
We asked them what can they do as an alternative to livestock keeping. They said it's business. Some said we'll be doing livestock marketing, buying and selling of livestock. Others said we'll be doing beekeeping. And that's what we did here. They're here. And we presented checks for 4 groups, each at 200,000, that's 800,000, as a pilot project to see if it works. If it works, then we upscale that one and then we replicate to other areas.
Ndio jamii ya Yaku walikuwa wanalisha nayo watoto yao. Hii iko na maziwa, iko pia na chakula. Inaitwa chankaro.
The highlight of the camp was the Indigenous Food Festival, where communities showcased their local cuisines, culture and traditional hospitality, all prepared, served, preserved by them who are custodians of the traditional knowledge.
Hii ngozi wanatoa nayo mshipi ya kina mama. Unapojifungua mama ya Yaku wanatoa na kutolea mshipi ambayo inashika hapa mpaka hapa, inakushika tumbo ndio ukikula chakula tumbo isikuje juu. Pia inashika mgongo uwe stable.
Hii ni damu. Lodole, hii damu tunakunywa wakati mtu ameumwa na nyoka.
The food festival idea was to bring our communities together to learn from each other best practices in terms of their indigenous knowledge on their own food systems, their indigenous knowledge on ways of food preparation and preservation of food. So, and it was also a way of and a tool that we kind of wanting to use as a way of bringing cohesion between these communities.
Learning from each other that despite them being different, they are the same and can benefit from one another and live peacefully.
On African traditional, more of the pastoralist, when you slaughter a goat and you share a meal together, that's like a sign of unity and respect to each other culture.
Waborana, tukiishi huko tunafikiri kama ni watu wengine adui ama Waturkana pia. Lakini nimekuja kujua hakuna mtu ako mbali na mwingine. Sisi yote ni mandugu, ni madada tu.
Msitudharau pia kwa usungunono, ni watoto tu kama watoto wengine. Sasa tukae pamoja kama Wasamburu, mwache mkishinda mkidharau ngunono, sababu mnaona pia wasichana wanaona.
The northern Kenya is synonymous with its love for meat and milk, but suspiciously missing was chicken and fish, which is a major part of the diet for most communities in Kenya.
Na nyama ya kuku Maasai yanasarau kwa sababu unaona kuku ni kama tu ndege ya ile tu ya kawaida, alafu unaona tena kuku ikitembea inaonja kila kitu, kila uchafu.
However, a new exhibit was uniquely visible among the foods of the north.
Sasa wakati ambao tunatengenezea watoto uji ama tunatengeneza uji kwa familia, tunachukua hiyo unga ya locust kiasi kidogo ama unga ya ngiringiri kiasi kidogo, tunaongeza kwa hiyo uji.
We were particularly interested in the Indigenous Food Festival because we saw them present a lot of their local cuisines, and we thought that it would be a nice way to introduce insect nutritious meals as a complementary to what they traditionally consume. And you know, insects have a lot of nutritional value. They have zinc, calcium, omega oils. So besides income generation, we are also looking at food security and also addressing the issue of malnutrition.
The culmination of the 2024 Camel Caravan Camp was the celebration of the International Day of the Indigenous People. a day dedicated to learning and forging forward together between all stakeholders on the real issues affecting pastoralists' communities, proposing interventions and developing a roadmap on improving lives.
Inatakikana tuimiza watu yetu ya kwamba kama hata ukipanda miti kama ni 10, utake responsibility ya kuweka maji, kuitunza isikulwe na wanyama mpaka ikue miti kama hii.
Ewaso Nyiro is about water, and therefore tukiangalia maneno ya maji, tunaangalia maneno ya maji kutoka the origin to the destination. Na sisi wote tuko hapa tumechongelesha siku ya leo, tukasema madhara ya activities along the river basin, along the river itself, kutoka mwanzo mpaka chini.
Climate change is real, so the only way to combat that is through conservation, whether you conserve your culture, whether you conserve your environment, whether you conserve your water sources. Hakuna namna ingine.
A process that will be spearheaded by a selected working group to follow up the recommendations set at the end of the camp.
One of the action points that we want as the planning organizers with Impact Kenya is to have a working group. A working group that will have a select committee, representatives selected from the different groups. The WRUAs will be represented in that working group. The women will be represented, youth as well as elders, but also targeting the county government representatives of these priority sectors such as wildlife, livestock, water department, the agriculture department come together. We'll have them be part of this working group and see whether the recommendations that the communities have made today will be actualized in the future.
Pamoja tuhifadhi Ewaso Nyiro.
Utapigania nini jamani, bwana tunaoana? Sisi sote tuko sawa mbele ya Maulana. Jamii inapigana, wafugaji wanauana, mpaka lini?